fresh look at the moon. Does the moon hold important information that has been lost, forgotten, ignored, or hidden and needs to be retrieved? Hi, I'm Dr. Rita Louise, and this is Just Energy. In this episode, we'll be speaking with John Shaughnessy about his new book, There's Something About the Moon. He'll take us on a journey back in time to our furthest, almost forgotten history. John will delve into concepts such as intelligent design inherent in the moon. He's a treasure trove of theoretical physics, lost ancient history, theosophy, philosophy, esoteric knowledge, and the nature of the human spirit. So please welcome the author of the book, There's Something About the Moon, John Shaughnessy. Hey, John, how's it going?
All right, Rita. Long time no see. How you been?
I've been doing great. I was so excited to see that you had a new book come out and stuff. And, you know, I was really kind of surprised, you know, especially about the topic, because your last book was about the pyramids and global balancing and weather distortions and, you know, a very interesting topic by itself. And now you're talking about the moon.
The moon, yeah. It's actually, the irony is it's the second book that I've put out with the moon on the cover. So, my first book, Pyramid Gravity Force, had the moon on it. And that's the engine behind the pyramid, global pyramid system, if you will. And, just started getting into the moon after that book. And I discovered a lot of interesting facts that have been lost to... human history, lost in human history, just tucked away in different places, and trying to pull them back out of the ether and get them back into the reality. It's been a joy. It's been a 2 year, I guess, about 2 years of studying and breakthroughs, and it's actually been a magical mystery tour of knowledge and discovery. And when you're in that place, you just want to stay there. It's just great. It's just a great feeling. So, and the best thing of all is just put it in a book and hand it off to people that might find it interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say something, but it just went.
It's contagious. Yeah, I'll have the same thing happen in a few minutes. Don't worry about it.
No, but you're on. I just have to sit here and be like, No, what I was going to say was, I think it's interesting how in recent years that there's been this concerted effort of digging into the records, the mythical record, and looking at the archaeological record in a different way, to bring forward a different interpretation of material that has been out there for a while, and in my opinion, a more unbiased, more literal interpretation of that material.
Yes, there's been a lot of books on the moon. There's got to be at a minimum one a year for the last couple of decades, if not 3 or 4. And some of them get very popular. They do well as sales concerned, and they also a lot of the authors follow up with YouTube videos, and then other speakers in the New Age world here, and they'll pick it up, and you get a lot of radio interviews, and a lot of people are, asking some questions, and they're not buying the block of cheese stuff anymore. They think there might be something more to it,
Maybe.
Yeah. So, which is good, It helped me out, and my co-author Wendy Salter there. She's a great researcher, and together we kind of. We discovered a whole plethora of information that's been, basically hidden in the sands of time. So we're, adding to the topic of the moon. Basically, we're doing our part, putting it out there.
Okay.
Yeah, putting it out there. Hopefully, people give it a look and add to it, and who knows?
And just since we're talking, the title is There Is Something About the Moon.
Yes.
Ooh. Big old full moon on the front.
There you go.
Ooh.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of pictures, a lot of drawings, a lot of images. It's every chapter in and of itself is unique. It's a separate learning experience in its own little category of science or theology, theosophy, theoretical physics. I think we just about touched on every
Yeah,
topic
I think so too.
that's known to man. You know, ancient history, you name it. So it's
Well,
pretty unique. We had to stop because it was growing and growing and growing. We basically got the book in ready to go to print, and we kept coming up with more stuff to put into the book. So we kept adding and adding, and then it's like, wait a minute, let's just stop here. We'll just get out the discoveries that we've made, and then maybe there'll be a book two later on that brings in
cool,
some more information.
cool.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
let's get into it. Let's get into it. You ready for me?
Oh yeah,
So
let
be
it.
easy on you, sorta, John.
You don't,
But
you don't have to.
but there are a lot of researchers in more recent years that think that the moon is, there's something not right. That it's some kind of like a spaceship or something artificial.
Yeah,
They shot something at the moon and it rang for hours at a time and they can't explain it. Did
yeah.
you uncover similar types of information in your research?
Absolutely, yes. We all build off of each other's research that's out there, and we left no stone unturned, and there is something about the moon,
Ooh.
that's perplexing. No pun intended. Yeah, start holding up Coca-Cola cans soon, doing some more commercials. But anyways, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the gravity of the moon doesn't make any sense. It's a large satellite. It's 1/50th the mass of the Earth, but yet it has a 17% less gravitational field on it than the Earth. It should be a lot less, really. And my basically research has also sided with a lot of the other researchers out there that it's not just some rock that just got created from a collision that spun off the Earth, or a few other theories that are out there. I think there's a lot more engineering behind the moon than just a natural formation. There's a lot of things that suggest that it's of a higher divine intelligent design. And that being said, it's like the more and more you study theoretical physics or science and anything, you go, okay, the numbers just don't add up. With just the solar system that we're in, that's spinning around the galaxy at 11.5 million miles a day. I mean, it's a perfect machine. It's in a beautiful spot in the halfway outside the spiral there in the middle, if you will, and we're basically unaffected by trillions of tons of debris that's floating around out there. Every day is kind of just a wonderful place on Earth. The temperatures are right. We're in the right sweet spot, and all of it, most of it, if not all of it, is due to the moon. So, with astronomers out there looking for planets right now in the sweet spot, in other solar systems, they should be looking for a planet with a moon, because if you can find a planet in the sweet spot, but it's not going to have the beautiful environment that we enjoy with the tides and the rotations. Because if the moon wasn't here, the Earth would be spinning 3, 4, 5 times faster than it does. You'd be wobbling, flipping head over heels. I mean, there's a lot of mechanics that the moon gives to the Earth for stability. And
Could you elaborate on that a little bit? I mean, I've heard about the tides. I think
yeah,
everybody's heard about the tides, but some of this other stuff you're talking about, I'm like,
yeah,
really?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Really?
It's accepted knowledge out there in the world of physics that the moon actually slows down the rotation of the planet so it doesn't overspeed, and consequently, the faster you go, the hotter the planet is, the slower the planet rotates, the cooler we get, and we're in the process of the big melt, the flood, the interglacial period. I call it the water age, and with that, it's kind of replicates a figure skater on ice. When she puts her hands out, she slows down. When she pulls her hands in, she speeds up. It's the same physics dynamic as a skater. And with that in mind, that's kind of what's going on right now with the Earth. They've added a second to the clock, the atomic clock, because it's slowing down because of the oceans are getting larger. The polar caps are getting smaller than the big melts going on, and everything's more or less, you got trillions of tons of ice melting and making its way into the ocean. So basically, the girth of the ocean is getting larger, which is just like getting back to the figure skater. It's slowing her down, slowing the Earth down, and it's cooling it down a little. Not, I think it's an insignificant amount, but it's still a measurable amount.
But
So
we have global warming, so it's going to
yeah,
balance itself out.
well, yeah, it could. I mean, it could be something. There might. Who knows? Who knows the end? But this interglacial period is what we've come to find out. It's you can call it global warming, climate change, or whatever. But the interglacial period is in essence climate change. That's what it's doing. It's going through the big thaw. Usually, if you look at the ice samples, they've got ice samples that go back a million years, 800,000 years, and it's almost like a clock. You could set your clock to is about 104,000 years of an ice age, and then you get a roughly a 13,000 year interglacial period where all the ice melts and the land gets submerged and other land becomes exposed because the ice sheets melt away and expose a lot of land that's been under ice, and with that in mind, it's just a process, and then you go to the end of the interglacial period, and what I suggest in the book, and what we suggest in the book, is that the moon is the ultimate clock. It basically tilts the Earth in and out of the ice age and the interglacial age is based on the water ice ratio, land water ratio, and once you hit a water peak or water maximum on the planet, the scientists today know that there's a larger gravitational drag on the planet because of the higher ocean levels now, and the mechanics behind that are, and what you'll read in the book is you'll find out with the things I've written down, the images and the graphs and the pictures, that it shows the geometry of the moon pulling, gravitational geometry pulling against the Earth will actually cause the Earth to tilt and go back into the ice age, and then you'll go into an ice building mode for 104,000 years, and then the gravitational field will basically dissipate on the ocean, because the ocean will be getting lower and lower and lower, 300, 400, 500 feet lower, and it'll start dragging on land mass and new ice mass, and that in an effect will pull the Earth back into the interglacial period, or the warming period. So it's kind of like just your garden. It's just the small cycle. It's a larger cycle. Obviously it's huge, and that's where the planet builders basically to set this up put some art on the moon to let us know where we are in these larger cycles. The big thing is trying to remember this stuff going through an ice age, 100,000 years, and how many technologies that come and go, and your cassette tapes, your 8 tracks cassette, CDs, thumb drives, implants, and then you have a problem and everything's lost. So I think that's the big thing. Word of mouth seems to hold stand the test of time as far as traditions going through. Everything else seems to fail. Yeah, so it's tradition, just passing on traditions and stories, and sitting around the campfire basically. So
Well, and I think that earlier cultures, ones that went back that far, they weren't in this materialistic place that we're at, where everything's external. They didn't have alphabet, so they didn't write stuff down. They didn't have computers. They didn't have iPhones, and so that was
yeah,
the way people communicated and held on to information. I mean, that was the telephone, you know.
yes, yes, yeah. That was it. As far as like standing the test of time, it's I think that'll hold up a lot longer than technology. Although, hieroglyphs, carvings, stone carvings, all the temples in Egypt, they seem to go in and out of the millennia and survive, and people, come back into it. They crack the code as to what the language is saying or what the images are saying, and you get some are right, some are real wrong, but
Yeah, I know.
yeah, so it takes everybody to get in there and put their 2 cents, do their own due diligence, get out there and study it yourself and see what you come up with. So
But you mentioned the planet builders, so
yeah.
I don't mean to go off on this tangent, but, who do you mean by the planet builders, and how do you see evidence of them in the moon?
Yes, good question. I'm from the school that this was divine design. So, I call them gods, God, planet builders, what have you, and the getting into so that's the feeling that I've had for a long time. There's just too many things that working just magically happen. It just defies logic when you look at the odds of everything coming into play to give us this planet that we're on. And the moon, like we spoke earlier about, it's a very interesting satellite. It controls the tides on the planet, controls magma currents, it controls the ice and water ages, like I was saying earlier. And with that, they burn some images into the face of the moon. I call it the bright side of the moon. Everybody's talking about the dark side of the moon. Let's look at the bright side of the moon, get the images, and a lot of those images basically in the folklore history, ancient history on Earth. You have a couple of zodiac signs. You have the claw with Cancer, and you have the goatfish or the sea goat, which is Capricorn. Ironically, we have the Tropic of Cancer, 30-degree latitude, and you have the north, and then you have the Tropic of Capricorn, 30 degrees south. So where those come from? A lot of these names we don't know where they came from, but the irony is that in the southern part of the moon, the lower part of the moon, you have the image of Capricorn, the sea goat, and in the top part of the moon, you have the image of the claw. And then in between those two latitudes is a man's face. We dubbed it's either Khonsu, as Amun gave the moon to Khonsu to drive. And in the book, we have some pictures of the images of the moon, and you can see some some correlations between the face geometry of the statues and carvings in Egypt, and compared with the images of the face of the man on the moon. They're almost identical. It's pretty freaky. So when you first see it, a lot of people can see it, a lot of people can't. So we have the images in the book, and we have an artist rendition of the images just to help people out, and then we have just an actual photo, a picture of the moon itself. I have a telescope in the background, and I took a picture of the face, the human face on the moon, and so basically there's 5 images on the moon. You have Capricorn. You have the claw. You have the face of the moon, the man of the moon, if you will. You have the cobra, and you have a C, which we look at as like a torque, or it's a struggle between the two ages. You have the age of Capricorn, the age of Cancer, and they're split in two. So right now we're in the age of man. We've broken down the theology to what these images meant or mean to us, and they're open to interpretation. But we think we got a good fix on what the images are saying and where we're at. It's so when the images are at right side up, they're in play. So right now you have the sea goat, which is the tides going out, which out into the land. So that's the age, the flood age, and then you have the image of the man's face, which is Kansu, which is the age of man. So when you're in the interglacial period, the man, in all his splendid wonder, basically breeds. He expands to the four corners of the planet. He thrives intellectually, spiritually, culturally, physically, and it just grows to that point up until you get to the point where you hit the water maximum, and the moon pulls you back into an ice age. And there's a gravitational signature from the Earth. The Earth is spinning at roughly 1,100 miles an hour, and because it's not all water and it's not all land, there's like a big chunk of land and a big ocean and a big chunk of land. They call continents. Well, unbeknownst to the scientific community, that actually puts out a gravitational signature that laps up against the moon, and it's not. We see pictures of the Earth. It's from space, and it's encased in this lovely little bubble, the atmosphere and the stratosphere, and it just looks wonderful. But in actuality, we have a mountain. The Himalayas are five miles high. They're actually breaking, into the fabric of space-time or gravity, the gravitational fields, and it goes way up past the moon. So, anyways, these gravitational signatures change from 4-phase and 3-phase. So in the water age is 3-phase because the land mass is more or less there's like 3 large land masses and 3 large oceans. And then when you get into the ice age, you develop a cascades down into up until a 4-phase. The point I'm driving home is it's this energy that rotates the face of the moon. It basically takes the moon and rotates the age of man and the sea goat out of play. And what you'll have the claw and the age of cobra come into play. So right now the sea goat's at 6 o'clock, and when you go into an ice age, the face of the moon will actually rotate, and the cobra will be down at 6 o'clock. Now, a lot of your steles with Akhenaten and hieroglyphs in Egypt show this image that's been misunderstood. They think it's a sun disk, but in actuality, the lines coming off of these steles are all moon numbers: 7, 14, 28. And the irony there is a lot of these steles. The pictures are in the book. They actually have a claw on the bottom of it. So you're in the age of Cancer and the age of Cobra, and that basically rocks back and forth over the millenniums and lets you know where you are as far as an ice age isn't too bad. It's not like we're all going to freeze. We just got to move. We got to go south, and that. But the
Go
ocean
south,
sinks.
young man.
Yeah, so when the ocean does sink in an ice age, and there's a lot of land mass out there that is just 100 feet or 50 feet below the ocean, and once the ocean goes 300, 400, 500 feet down from where the ice basically goes, the water turns to ice and goes to the poles. The ocean gets lower. All this land mass basically becomes available for living and resources and growing food, and it becomes a habitat again. So.
Well, I think it's interesting, the Capricorn Cancer piece. Because astrologically they're opposite each other on the horoscope. Capricorn is more, definitely a male energy kind of planet, about rules and authority,
Yes. Yeah.
and regulation and rulership and that kind of thing. And Cancer, by its nature, is about nurturing and family and that kind of thing. So even emotionally, they're
Right.
opposite. And now we're in this very patriarchal, rule dominated world where before, there was the female energy, the Venus figures and all that stuff that was happening. And I think that's a very interesting correlation that
Yeah.
as the earth changes, I'm going to assume the moon doesn't move, but it changes our position, like our angle, so that when we view it differently. Is
Yes.
that
Yes.
correct?
That is absolutely correct. So it's all designed for the northern hemisphere in mind. So if you went down to Australia, you would be in the age of Cobra and Cancer right now, because your orientation of the southern hemisphere is different. Um, like if as if and then if you go to the northern hemisphere, it's the you're in the age of Capricorn and the age of man. Yeah. So when the tilt comes, when the Earth's axis tilt changes, the that changes the gravitational signature also, and the moon itself rotates. The face rotates. And this happens over, it doesn't happen in one day. It's a long process. So,
Mm-hmm.
unbeknownst to, we really haven't been, marking where these images are, because they basically haven't been put out there. I guess that's where I come in. I point out the obvious,
Mm-hmm.
and now we can start looking at it, hopefully, and then we could, use the rotation of the face of the moon as as instrumentation, and that's basically what it is. The images are put out there for instrumentation for readers. There's always been the group of people throughout history. That have been like they record history, they read these things, and the solstices, and by the way, happy solstice, we're in the middle of
Oh,
one.
thank you. You too.
So yeah, so the orientation does change. The science behind that is that there is evidence. They call it polar drift. Now they don't. There's evidence from satellites that have gone to the moon, or probes that show that the base of the moon, it does rotate. They call it an old north and an old south pole. So it does rotate. Maybe 90 degrees, and we wrote in our tilt changes, and so you do have that orientation of being in the age of Cobra, or the age of Cancer, when you do get into an ice age. So it's pretty
Interesting.
amazing stuff. Yeah, it's a big discovery. I think I've been uh, pretty humble about it, and haven't really I haven't really accepted how potentially big it is. It's a really big just big discovery. Like, I get people the books, and they read the books, and then I love it when the jaw opens up and they just can't speak, and well, they're just blasted away by the knowledge that's basically packed into this book. It's a lot of
Hmm.
information, and it's backed up with physics and
So
science.
I was just that's John Shaughnessy. His book is There's Something About the Moon. And thank you for watching this portion of our interview with John. If you're enjoying today's program, please click on the button below and subscribe to our channel. If you want to hear this interview in its entirety, become a Just Energy Radio insider at justenergyradio.com and access full shows commercial free and gain access to our over 10 years of show archives. And don't forget to share this episode with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So until next time, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Just Energy. Be blessed.